Hey everybody, today I'm going to do some live coding related to the Zulip application, and I'm going to be using TypeScript. Today is my first day using TypeScript, so you'll probably see me struggle a tiny bit with it. I've used other strongly typed languages before, and I've had exposure to TypeScript, so I kind of know the idea behind it, but I've never actually been hands-on before. But my goal for today is to continue work on this little emulation of the Zulip convenience panel here up in the top left. And my particular task is that this little unread count here, I want to make it less hard coded. So I'm going to show you my repo. I have an index.html file, and it basically includes a bunch of modules from my dist directory. That dist directory is populated by the TypeScript compiler. The TypeScript compiler looks for files in my lib directory that have the .ts extension, and then it compiles those into JavaScript and puts the output into the dist directory, where dist stands for distribution. And so I'm going to take you to my code editor, and I'm going to show you that the unread count helpers um, module basically returns a very simple object that has an element, which is the HTML span element type, and then it returns an update count function that receives a number and doesn't return anything, but has the very important side effect of updating the inner text of the unread count widget to be whatever your count is. And if I go into my all messages component, you can see right now that I'm just hard coding the value of 4, which shows up here. But I want to kind of like lift this code up the stack a little bit. So I'm going to make a new function here called update unread count. And it's going to take a count, which is a number, and it's going to return a void, just like the thing that it's using. But instead of passing in 4, we're going to pass in whatever count is given to us. And then we're going to return that as part of our interface. And I can almost guarantee you that TypeScript is going to complain about this in a good way. So I go here, let me clear real quick. And after I save the code, I don't have my work set up highly automated, but I run the TypeScript compiler using the project configuration file tsconfig.json. And if the TypeScript compiler succeeds, then I run my web server, and I just use the Python web server. But as I said, I expect TypeScript to complain here, and I'll be a little disappointed if it doesn't, and it's not complaining. Why is it not complaining? Oh, no. Oh yeah, no, it's okay. So I haven't really fully specified the type here. So I'm gonna say that I want to return an all messages widget, and I want my all messages widget to have what am I returning? A list element. So I'm gonna have a read-only list element, which should be an HTML. I'm just gonna say it's an HTML element for now. And repopulate text should be a function. doesn't require any arguments as far as I remember. And whoops. And then update unread count should take a count that's a number and then not return anything, even though it does have side effects. It doesn't actually return anything to the caller. Let me see if this works. Okay, a lot of complaints. That looks like a syntax error. I'm going to pipe it to Vim just so I can read it. Oh, well, yeah. Yeah, it always kind of explodes. I haven't learned that this is the proper syntax yet in TypeScript. I haven't got, well, I've learned it, but I haven't gotten into my muscle memory. So I think this should all fit on the screen, so I'm just going to run it. I expect fewer errors now. And in fact, it worked. That's a really common thing in almost every compiler, is that like one small error can just lead to this explosion of subsequent errors. So if I run this now, okay, so, well, that makes sense. So I have, let me show you the diff. In my all messages component, I am now returning this update count function. Well, that's the JS, excuse me. I'm now returning this update count function. I'm not sure. I thought I was populating. A little confused by the diff. Oh, yeah, I just didn't see it in the diff. So I'm no longer calling update count with 4. So somewhere I actually need to update the count. And the whole idea is that I'm sort of upstreaming this. So the main thing that uses the all messages widget is the convenience panel. And these entire 3 lines here are the convenience panel. And the first line, of course, is the all messages widget. And the code reflects that structure. So if I go to the convenience panel, when I get my all messages component, it might be as simple as doing this. All messages component, update unread count. And I'm going to use a different number now. I'm going to call it 17. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to recompile. And if my compilation succeeds, I'm going to restart the web server. And the compilation does indeed succeed. And if I reload here, it's set to 17. So I think I'm going to stop there. So all I've done is a really simple thing, is that I've taken functionality and I've kind of pushed it up the call stack so that the callers, so that instead of the immediate caller of the widget being able to set the unread count, the caller of the caller sets it. And let's go back to the diff, because I think the diff will make it fairly clear. One thing about my diffs is that I'm still including the JavaScript code in the repo. So every time I change the TypeScript code, you're going to see changes to the JavaScript code. And I might change that eventually, but for now, it's just sort of a nuisance. But I created this new type for the all messages widget, and I specified that was the return type from my build function. And then I, instead of immediately updating the count to 4 within the widget, I instead return an update unread count part, or update unread count function as part of the interface. And then finally in the convenience panel, I call it. And it's that simple. I'm going to push my change. And that's the end of today's video. Thanks for watching.